Miller is going to be one of our presenters, and I'd like to have Brett come up and just say a few words about 110 Fitness.
We're being, if we're nothing, we're adaptive, is what I always say at 110 Fitness, so we're kind of shifting around here. Dr. Dubas is going to speak after me. I do have to exit a little early, so I appreciate you letting me kind of work things out of sync. If you don't know 110 Fitness, we're the largest wellness center in the world for people with Parkinson's disease. We are an open, inclusive facility, but our primary focus is movement disorders, primarily Parkinson's disease. But we do have folks who come through our doors with other movement disorders and other neurological diseases, ALS, CTE, Huntington's disease. And we're really a very research, evidence-based, driven program. So all the programs that we offer for our folks who have Parkinson's disease are research evidence-based. We have a wonderful medical advisory board that oversees all our programming. And we have people in all different disciplines so that we're making sure that we're staying on the crest of the wave with research and data and making sure that all our programming is appropriate and up to speed for our folks. We have several hundred people who come through our doors on a weekly basis. And we do anything from drumming to, we have a small choir, to singing, Tai Chi, boxing, you name it, we do it. We have a really wonderful sort of organic family, and so a lot of our programming is done outside of 110 Fitness. So during the months, we go to the movies together, we go to the orchestra together, we go deep sea fishing, we go to axe throwing, rock climbing, we do art workshops. So a lot of that community-driven and what I like to say intergenerational programming, because all of that programming is free and open to our community. So we involve our folks, kids, grandkids, and their families to come and be a part of our programming. I'm the founder, but all the folks that have come and come through our doors really have made this a really special place. It has a wonderful energy. If you're looking for resources in regards to research data that pertains to exercise, or if you're looking for a home or resources for a family member, please come by. Our Director of Operations, Anna Dunbar, will be here today to answer any questions that you might have. And if you need resources, we can do things virtually. We do virtual appointments for people all over the world to get them what they need. As you know, not everybody has all these wonderful resources that we have here in the Boston area. So again, our booth, our table is here, and come by and feel free to get what you need and make sure that you remember that you're not alone in this fight, and that there's plenty of people out here and all these wonderful resources to help you today. Thank you.
Okay, so our speaker for today is Dr. Ornella Dubas. She's been at VA Boston here about the last 4 or 5 years, and she's the Director of Movement Disorders Clinic, and of course specializes in Parkinson's. So we're still trying to figure out our speaker system here, but Dr. Dubas, if you want to just come out this way, it's probably easier. We can flip your slides for if you like, but she'll kind of lay the groundwork for today, talking about what the federal government's been doing in terms with veterans care, and of course cutting edge work done always by the VA, nicotine patches, pacemakers, first liver transplant done in VA healthcare. So we do set the standard for the country, and that's one of the reasons America is such a great place to be. And I'll be a quick notice, we're ready to go here. If you're a veteran, you're sitting here, you've never enrolled and never used VA healthcare, please come and talk to me, because you're missing out. You're spending a lot of money you don't need to waste, and you get the same and better care, tremendous care here at VA Boston. And I tell you, my wife's so happy we save so much money. But I get the best care ever. Absolutely great stuff. So, are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, I won't be able to advance the slides from here. I don't know if you can do that. Hi, everyone. I'm Ornella Dubas. I'm the Parkinson specialist here at VA Boston, and I've been here since about 2020. And it's really been a pleasure and an honor to be here. I have the most amazing patients and the most amazing colleagues. So it's a pleasure to get to talk to you guys today. And the first plug is exactly what was just mentioned, and it's if you're not a patient at the VA yet, this is the website to go to get some information about it and learn how to sign up and see if you're eligible for VA benefits. just a word about military exposures. This is such a common thing that comes up in the clinic when patients first come to see me. And there's a lot of excellent information on the website. If you go to parkinson.va.gov, which I'll show again another slide about this, there's a lot of information about military exposures if that's a question that's coming to mind for individuals. And so let's talk about VA Parkinson's disease care. The way the VA delivers Parkinson's disease care is by this organization system where there are 6 PADRECs, and at the top of the screen you can see they're called Parkinson's Disease Research, Education, and Clinical Centers. These are the most specialized kind of centers of excellence within the VA system for treatment of Parkinson's disease. It's where the bulk of the clinical research trials are done, and there are only 6 of those in the country. The closest to us is Philadelphia. And then they sponsor a number of other sites, about 50 of these total. And they used to be called consortium sites, are now known as PADREC associated sites. That name is changing again imminently, and they'll probably be called something called RPDMCs, but for the time being, they're Parkinson's PADREC associated sites. And these are sites where there is a movement disorder specialist, some sort of expertise on board at that site where you're getting specialized Parkinson's care and access to other types of movement disorders resources that may not be available at some of the smaller clinics. And so Boston does have that designation. It's something we applied for some years ago and have maintained. So let's talk about some of the other Parkinson's disease-related resources that we have here, specifically at VA Boston. So the first thing are exercise opportunities. Brett just talked about 110 Fitness, which is an amazing program that a lot of my veteran patients down here at the Brockton campus take advantage of. But we have many others through the VA as well. And one amazing program we have is the VA annual assessment for chronic progressive neurological diseases. This tracks outcomes for patients, and so every year there's a battery of tests that's done through the physical therapy department, and based on that assessment and any changes from the year before, they're able to come up with a specialized treatment plan, whether ongoing physical therapy is needed, a little refresher session, other resources. So that's a really great program that's voluntary that patients can get involved with. We do have physical therapists here who are trained in the LSVT BIG program, which people have probably heard of out there. We also have speech pathologists that have expertise in Speak Out and some of the speech-related therapies that are out there. We have a Parkinson's disease exercise group that's done by video, which is really amazing here at the VA. And so you can enroll in this exercise program and then participate virtually in that program. And it's guided, and there are different layers of difficulty depending on what your functional status is. And then there's the VA GeroFit program. This is not specific to Parkinson's disease, but is available to all VA patients over the age of 60. And spouses or care partners can also participate, which I know a lot of people enjoy. And it's a supervised group exercise program that's, again, done virtually. We also have an amazing adaptive sports program here at the VA, which your primary care doctor can refer you to. This is an amazing program down here, actually located out of the Brockton VA campus, where, and actually if you go to the next slide, just to show how many different opportunities there are. So not that you can read anything that's on this slide, but there's curling, sailing, rowing, scuba diving, lots of different activities that the adaptive sports program has here at the VA for patients. Whole Health is another amazing resource at the VA, and the Boston VA has really been one of the pioneers in implementing this and building this program. Whole Health is a way to kind of look at your health in a holistic way and get access to resources that maybe you didn't know might be helpful for your health, and not just specific to Parkinson's disease, but health in general. Here, should go to the next slide. They have lots of different wellness services that fall under this Whole Health umbrella, and you can actually get set up with a coach that helps you go through this program. You can get referred again through primary care to this program, But even if you don't want to be part of this whole health program where you get set up with a coach and participate in certain specifics of the program, there's a lot of online resources that you can access. And so if you actually go and just type into Google like VA Whole Health or VA Boston Whole Health, you will pretty easily find this whole health webpage. And on it, there's all of these resources like meditation classes, mobility classes, other little videos that can really be quite helpful. Own Practice is another free resource for veterans. This is online exercise, yoga, meditation, and it's just an online group that most people have to pay a membership for, but they have made it free for veterans. So any veteran is eligible to sign up for this for free. So if you go to Own Practice's website, there's a little section, I'm a veteran, and you can sign up for free and join in on their classes. And many of them are live, so that they want you to participate in a live class with other people and build community in that way. There are lots of online resources that we have available, including the parkinsons.va.gov website that I mentioned. So you can see that's what the homepage looks like. There's different sections for actually getting care for veterans and families. You can see along the left side there of the screen. And if you go to the For Veterans and Families section, there are a ton of resources. There are a series of short videos that are that address various aspects of Parkinson's disease as told by veterans. They're really nicely done. There are a list of support groups that are specifically put on by the different VA PADRECs. So out of Philadelphia, out of Richmond, most of them are virtual now, which is one of the positives that came out of COVID. So really anyone in the country has access to these depending on what your schedule is. And so this information is there on the website. They have lots of other resources like these education brochures, hospital kits, emergency plans, reminder cards that you can bring if you're hospitalized for an elective surgery or some other reason that says, hi, I have Parkinson's. These are some things that you should be aware of. And the Parkinson's Foundation and some of the other partners here have similar things through their organizations as well, but this is from the VA, if anyone's interested in any of those types of resources. And they have a whole section with suggested educational essentials. So again, I just can't emphasize enough parkinsons.va.gov. There's more on there than even I remember sometimes. The Parkinson's Foundation has specifically partnered with the VA, and so that is a really wonderful resource. If you go to the Parkinson's Foundation, there is a section for veterans and Parkinson's that has some really nice information on it. And if you just scroll to the bottom of their website, you can easily sign up for their emails, and there's a lot of great information on there. And then just to plug that there is a VA caregiver support program at the VA. Some people don't know about this, or they wish they heard about it sooner. So if anyone has questions about that, it is worth looking it up online and inquiring. And that's it. Thank you for the opportunity.
Very good.
Any quick questions for while you're here?
Thank you very much. A lot of information. You did say it's online. You can go online to get everything that was up there.
Yeah, pretty much everything that's up
What
there.
do you do with people that aren't very computer literate?
Yeah, that is tricky. I will say a lot of the organizations that are here today have amazing resources, and they don't all have to be from the internet. You can actually, they have phone numbers that you can call, like the Parkinson's Foundation does, where you can actually get brochures, pamphlets mailed to you in paper copy that talk about various, symptom management or other things. So there are those things. Here at the VA, I'm often handing out paper because I similarly have trouble with online, being online savvy. So also talking to your outside provider if they're not at the VA. a lot of these organizations mail us copies of things that we keep in the clinic, and so that's a good way to access things. And there's going to be a lot of material here today, so grab the paper copies.
Can I just also add your Veteran Services Office in your local town and
Yes.
cities will have information if you need to get resources in hand.
And a lot of local community centers
Yes.
also have resources.
Hi. I wasn't able to copy some of the information that was on the screen. Do you have like sheets of paper with that online stuff?
Maybe I have some printouts, but I don't know the email. Were the slides printed out or
No.
for the support group?
I'll tell you what, folks, if you want to, if you'd like to pass them on to you in a card, or would you like them to contact you directly, or we can forward those to.
I don't know if we can make them.
Everybody's connected with Greg, right? Greg Brasso?
Yeah.
Mr. Brasso, so
Yeah.
we'll send them to Greg and then just ask if Greg can pass them on.
Yeah, I'm happy to send him my
I-
slides
yeah,
or,
go ahead.
yeah.
You're busy. Well,
Very.
you got people, yeah. Any other questions? Are we right now, and before we jump into our groups that are here today? Well, thank you, Dr. DeVos. Great. Apologies, this is what happens when you have two Army guys trying to set up a technical thing, so I don't know. We had a Marine up here, now it's completely broken. So we'll do our best. Hopefully you can hear, just to ask folks to project as they talk. So at this time, we'll turn it over to Mr. Brasso and we'll go right on.
At this point, we're going to ask the presenters to come up and just say a few words about what they're doing, just to take a couple of minutes to give an overview of why they're here and what they're doing and who they do it to. But then we're going to have a chance for you to go up, and if you want to have some personal questions, we'll have a question and answer period, and we're going to be serving lunch in a couple of minutes, so we'll be here for a little while to answer your questions. But at this time, I'd like to introduce Keith Ciccone from St. Elizabeth's Hospital. Keith has been one of my good buddies for 5 years now, 6 years, and he's going to let everybody know what's happening in St. Elizabeth.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Keith Ciccone. I'm the nurse specialist at St. Elizabeth's Medical Center, and we will be transitioning as now we're known as Boston Medical Center Health Systems, and our name changes again on May 1st. It will be Boston Medical Center Brighton. So we'll still be at St. Elizabeth's. I am a nurse specialist. I've been a nurse for over 30 years, and I've been with the Parkinson's community over 25 years. I've been part of the APDA for many, many years. But I work for two providers. I work for Dr. Anna Holler, who's the chair of the department. And I also work with Dr. Suja Sadasavan, who is also the director of movement. Here at St. Elizabeth's, we have many sites, one in Brockton, Dr. Holler and Dr. Sadasavan's down the street in our Brockton clinic today. And what we do is we are a movement disorder center. We do assessments of Parkinson's disease. Dr. Holler is a retired major from the United States Army, serving for over 7 years or 8 years. We evaluate, we help people get into clinical trials. We work with people with Botox. We work with people with deep brain stimulation. We work with all the vendors, Medtronic, Boston Scientific, and Abbott, who helps with deep brain stimulation. I do a support group through the APDA on deep brain stimulation if you're ever interested in deep brain stimulation. But we're here to help our veterans to get evaluated. Dr. Holler has also done research with our Boston Fire Department on exposures. We know about, as Dr. Dubai talked about, Agent Orange, the burn pits. We know all about those things, chemical exposures. But we're here to help you. I'm over here in the tablecloth with the white, and I hope I can help you in any ways to get you evaluation. Again, I'm from St. Elizabeth's Medical Center / Boston Medical Center, Brighton. So we welcome you all today. Thanks much.
Why don't we have the folks from the Association of Parkinson's disease? Who would want to speak for them? Here we go.
Okay.
Go Good morning. My name is Jessica Vanderstad. I'm the Executive Director of the American Parkinson's Disease Association, or ADPA. Thank you so much for being here today. I am relatively new to this role, and it's been a pleasure to join this organization and be able to support the PD community. Our focus is strength and optimism and hope and progress. And every day we provide the support, education, and research that really helps those with PD live life to the fullest. We are blessed to have an information and referral center at Boston University. Our program director, Kathy Thomas, there you are, is a wealth of information. That resource center is really the hub of where many people with PD kind of have the first introduction to the community. We do have a phone number individuals can call and also an email. And that program really facilitates a lot of our programs, including our signature programs, Press On, our caregiver support group, and also support groups across the state. So from Monterey to Martha's Vineyard. When you stop by our table today, I encourage you to pick up this handbook. This is for our helping those who serve Parkinson's disease information for the veterans community. It's a great resource. I also want to introduce my colleague who you may speak with later today, Laura. Laura just joined us this week, but she's our fundraising events manager. We'll put on many of our community programs, including ones you've heard of, such as the Optimism Walk that's coming up here next month. So if you have any questions, come by our table. We'd be happy to answer them. And again, make sure you don't leave without taking this book. So thank you again.
Next up, we'd like to have Susan from the Blue Book come up.
So my name's Susan Arrayas, and my husband Joe is in the back. We publish a free senior resource guide called Seniors Blue Book for the greater Boston area. We've got a bunch, come take them. We deliver to 110 senior centers and libraries. So if you want more, if not, call us. This particular book has the Parkinson Association on the cover, talking about their services and support groups. The veterans have a large section in here that we work with David on. It talks about the expansion of the PACT Act to include Parkinson's. It also lists a whole variety of clinics, resources, as well as Greg's radio station for you. We list a lot of home care companies, we list a lot of housing, in addition to what services they offer and what payments they take. Perkins Library over here is listed, as well as some others. So I encourage you to come take one, come take more than one, and let us know if you want more. Thanks. Thank you.
At this point, I'd like to have the Women Veterans Network say a few words.
Good morning, everybody. I am Peggy Duffy-Shea, and I am from the Executive Office of Veteran Services for the state, and I specialize in working with women's veterans. We have a lot of resources throughout the state that some veterans may not be aware of. There's the annuity program that if you're a disabled vet, you can get some rebate on your taxes. We do a lot of programs for female veterans up and all through the state, and just come by and get some resources. You never know what you're entitled to until you stop by and look and see what we have. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Next, from the wonderful Michael J. Fox Foundation, truly the rose of our show. Thank you. We really appreciate the work that Michael has done, raising billions of dollars for research, and we can't wait to hear some of your advancements.
Well, thank you, Greg, for inviting us. I'm Melanie Barrett. I'm a Senior Philanthropy Relationship Manager with the Michael J. Fox Foundation, based here in Massachusetts, but we, of course, work globally. So for those of you who aren't familiar with the Michael J. Fox Foundation, our sole goal is to aggressively fund research to end Parkinson's disease. That is what we are here for. We were founded 25 years ago in 2000 by actor and Parkinson's advocate Michael J. Fox after he publicly shared his diagnosis. And in that time, we have funded over $2 billion in Parkinson's research, which makes us the largest single funder of Parkinson's research in the whole world. And what's really important to know about the foundation is that we get money in the door and we send it back out to research as quickly as possible. We don't have an endowment. We try to get that money into the hands of researchers as soon as we can. And we've seen results. So in the past 10 years, there have been 20 new therapies approved by the FDA for Parkinson's alone. We've also seen some success in our advocacy work. So we had, last year, we worked really, really hard to advocate for the National Parkinson's Project, which was approved and signed into law in July. And we also have put a lot of effort into advocating for veterans support services, and that turned into a 40% increase in funding for the projects that our speaker earlier mentioned. So we're really proud of that work. But we also know that there's more that needs to be done, and our team of scientific leaders at the Michael J. Fox Foundation right now are really feeling very hopeful. We think there's a lot of progress that can be made in the next 5 years, and we have a very aggressive strategic roadmap to lead us there. So our goals, what we're working toward, is achieving clear disease definition, which will help with earlier diagnosis, which will help people get more personalized treatments for the type of Parkinson's they're experiencing. But above all that, we are investing in a better pipeline of better treatments that will lead us to be able to slow or stop progression and ultimately just end Parkinson's. That's the end goal, of course. So as I said, this strategy is paying off, and I would be remiss if I didn't say that the one sort of biggest accomplishment we've had to date is a study called the Parkinson's Progression Markers Initiative, or PPMI. Some of you may have heard of this. I know our partner, Kathy Thompson, was mentioned earlier. She is the director for PPMI site in Boston. And this program, we call it the study that is changing everything because it's really revolutionizing Parkinson's research. We're able to monitor and understand more about genetic markers, which help us to figure out how to address Parkinson's. So just to give you one example, in 2023, we validated the first ever what's called a biomarker for Parkinson's. So this is a clear test that can say, yes, you have Parkinson's, or no, you don't, which we've never had before. It's always been subjective tests. So that is really changing the game. And of course, we can't do research without research volunteers. So anyone here can be a research volunteer. Some of you, I'm sure, have already been involved. If you'd like to know more about PPMI or any other research opportunities, please come see me at the table. We have a great website called foxtrialfinder.org where you can look at research sites anywhere near you online. We have a ton in the Boston area, which is fantastic. The Michael J. Fox Foundation also has many events throughout the year if you want to get together with the community. And please come say hello. I'm happy to share our resources. We also have some wonderful online and physical resources about how you can cope with your Parkinson's journey and different things to help you along the way. So thank you again for having us, and let me know if you have questions.
Any questions that you want to ask? Maybe they'll come over and
I'll be here all day.
and ask away. Ask away. Thank you very much. Thank you. Next, I'd like to introduce Dennis Devine. Dennis is from the Disabled Veterans. Has been a good friend of mine, along with Peter McPhail, who does a tremendous amount of work, and just recently. To show you the kind of guy that Peter is, some people you have to ask if you need a hand. When Peter found out that this was happening, he didn't wait. He called me and asked me what he could do. And he's been a supporter of mine for years. He's a go-to guy, and the DAV is lucky to have him. So Dennis, carry on.
Okay, I'm Dennis Devine. I'm the first junior vice for the state of Massachusetts. The DAV's main objective is to make sure our veterans have a quality of life. We're pushing for their claims, It's amazing how many people out there don't know they can put in claims. I've been in the system, if Dave remembers, since 1972. So I've been in the VA Boston system since 1972. I have people in my chapter who have Parkinson's, and I wanted them to get the most they could out of this today. But the DAV, we supply transportation to veterans that are going to their medical appointments. We have, up in Gardner, we have houses for veterans that are going to school at the college. When they get their degree, they move out, and we've had them go and buy their own house afterwards. The DAV is here for you. We want to get as many members as we can. So I'm here afterwards. If you want to talk about anything, come on up, and I'll be glad to talk.
Very good. And next up from Medtronic, you want to come up front?
Sure. My name's Colleen. I'm from Medtronic. And for those of you who haven't heard of DBS before, it's a treatment option that can help the motor symptoms of Parkinson's, like tremor, rigidity, and bradykinesia. It's FDA approved and clinically proven to help. As many of you have seen or experienced before, medications can be really effective at treating the symptoms in the early stages, but as the disease progresses, medications can become less effective, and that could be a great time to consider DBS as a treatment option. Personally, I've worked as an occupational therapist for years and treated a lot of patients with Parkinson's, and I've done a lot to help these patients, but can't always get them back to 100% because of those motor symptoms. So it might be a great time for, if you see yourself or somebody else in that situation too, it might be a great time to consider DBS. So please come up and learn more about it, take some pamphlets, yes.
I have a question.
Yeah.
This might be a foolish question, but do you have to undergo anesthesia to have that?
Yes. Varying degrees of, sometimes the surgery can be done awake, so the patient is awake for part of the procedure to be able to do test stimulation, make sure the lead placement is perfect and it's doing what it needs to do. But part of it would be under some anesthesia, yes. Yeah.
If I want to get tested on blood sugar, I'm a years in the hospital. Should I just ask you that?
If you have a neurologist, it'd be a good okay. So
I get a referral.
yeah, and we can chat too about maybe putting you in contact with a movement disorder neurologist, because there's a difference. There's a neurologist who sees all types of conditions, and then there's a movement disorder neurologist who specializes in that type of care. Any other questions? Yeah.
My name is Joe, and I've been in recovery from alcohol and drugs for 16 years. And if I got Parkinson's, would these drugs be addictive?
DBS?
The drugs that you provide for Parkinson's, would they be addictive?
Well, DBS isn't a medication. It's a surgical procedure. It's where we implant leads into the brain to help block those brain signals that cause the tremor, rigidity, and bradykinesia. So not a medication. So not addictive.
I can just add to that. Most drugs that we prescribe for Parkinson's do not typically have addictive qualities. So generally the answer is no, but there are a lot of different medications. So if you needed to, you would want to consult your doctor.
Okay, thank you, ladies. Because, you know, if it was addictive, I would say let me die of Parkinson's.
Hopefully not.
Well, yeah.
Hopefully not.
Right.
Thanks, Colleen.
Yeah, thank you.
We appreciate it. And Medtronic just had a significant release.
Yes.
Could you just touch about that
Absolutely.
release that was?
Thank you. So we just received FDA approval for this new feature called Adaptive DBS. So it's the first closed loop system on the market where we are able to listen to brain signals and make changes. This device automatically adjusts stimulation in accordance with those brain signals. So let's say, for example, you're on your medications and you're at your peak dose. This stimulation will turn down automatically, knowing that you don't need as much stimulation when your medication is working its best. And then when the medication starts to wear off, everybody knows how that can start to get. Stimulation will automatically adjust and bump up so that you are always getting the right amount of therapy that you need to have more on time throughout the day.
So it's implantables?
Yes.
That stay in?
Yes, and it's all under the skin. You would never even know that a person has it by looking at them. Sometimes you might be able to see something on the chest because the battery is implanted under the skin in the chest.
It's like a pacemaker.
Like a pacemaker, yes.
It's like a pacemaker for your brain.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
How big is the device, actually?
We have two of them here. The smaller one is a rechargeable battery, and this bigger one is a non-rechargeable. Patient preference, whatever works best for you. Our non-rechargeable lasts 15 years.
Last 15 years?
Yes, and that's guaranteed.
Okay, so that is a stimulator, you said?
Yeah, a neurostimulator.
A neurostimulator, and it guides the medication also? Or?
Not medication, but it delivers electrical stimulation to, I'll show you here.
Okay.
These extensions are placed into that battery, all under the skin,
Okay.
and they lead up to what is implanted into the brain, the lead.
Okay.
The lead is implanted, and then your neurologist would work with you to find out which contact on the lead has the best, is in that hot spot to deliver the stimulation where it's going to get rid of symptoms and minimize any side effects you might see.
May I ask you a question?
Yeah.
In terms of anesthesia, if these patients go into the OR to receive anesthesia, would they need to have EEG placed? Or can Medtronic actually go in and with, like, let's say they have to computerize, do they have to have a rep in the room also to monitor that?
Yeah, we're in the room too, and those tests are okay to run with the whole system implanted too. Does that answer your question?
Well, would they need EEG monitoring during that time with the device in? For example, let me give you an example.
Yeah.
I work in the OR, and the patients sometimes, like with the patients that have nowadays with the internal defibrillator and the pacemaker, they're like a dual thing.
Yeah.
Medtronic, all we have to do is call Medtronic, and somebody will come in, they'll know that the patient is going to the OR going under general anesthesia.
Yeah.
And when that happens, they, usually what we do is after, they don't no longer have to put a magnet on the device
Right.
to turn it off.
Right.
Because it automatically, just does its own thing, and then what we do is we just call Medtronic afterwards and have them check out the device. That is it the same?
Yeah, so our patients go home with a patient programmer, and that allows them to be able to turn that device off if they were going in for a surgery. They could do that themselves, and also with that programmer, they can make changes to their stimulation, turn it up or down, within the parameters of what their neurologist sets. And they can check the battery life on it too. And even put themselves in what we call MRI mode. And Medtronic is the only company that offers the ability to keep the battery on for MRIs, which is huge because if you think about a tremor and going in for an MRI, that's going to affect the quality of the scan. So we have the ability for a patient to go in there, put themselves into MRI mode, and then go through with their scan. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you very much.
Of course.
Colleen's going to be here to answer some more questions. If you have some private questions you want to ask, I'm sure she'll be able to. Great job.
Thank you.
Next up, the National Parkinson Foundation.
Good morning, everyone. Almost noon. First and foremost, thank you for being here. I appreciate your support to this country. And also looking for tools to support to go through Parkinson's disease. Parkinson's Foundation is here for supporting you guys in education and materials for you guys to learn and understand more about the disease state. So we'll be here throughout the day. Any questions to support or materials that you guys would like. I know someone mentioned online resources are difficult to navigate, so we have a lot of paper and manual ones if necessary to support you guys. So Parkinson's Foundation actually partnered with the VA in 2020. We've noticed that globally there's over 10 million people with Parkinson's in the world, but we've only identified up to 110,000 patients with VA, which there could be up to 30 to 50% more patients that actually could be suffering with Parkinson's disease. So it's really important to educate and also understand what those symptoms are early on. So we're also here to support you with education materials partnered with Parkinson's disease, which, this pamphlet's here, as you guys can come up and see some of those items there. April is Parkinson's, Awareness Month. April 11th specifically is the World Parkinson's Day. So that's something to keep in mind of. And also on October 4th is the Movement Walk in Boston. So for those of you who are, interested in kind of supporting and kind of coming out and walking through and, acknowledging Parkinson's and being there and learning more, happy to have you guys there as well. So appreciate you guys' time, and any questions that you guys have for Parkinson's disease, we're here to support you guys. So thank you.
Next up.
Hi. My name is Aaron Fergola. I work at the Perkins Library in Watertown, Massachusetts. Many of you may have heard the name Perkins before. We are part of the Perkins School for the Blind. However, you might not realize is that we're actually a separate entity under the same umbrella. The Perkins School handles students up until the age of 22. We handle anyone in the state who has difficulty reading traditional print. You guys might be familiar with public libraries. You may have heard the term scholastic or academic libraries. We are a special kind of library called a special library. What that means is that we actually manage a special collection. That collection is all accessible. From the ground up, everything that we offer is meant to be accessible. You might not realize this, but much like anyone can go into a public library and get access to that collection, there may be a lot of people that would not find that accessible though. So we are an equivalent to a public library. We're a free special collection available to anyone who is in need of it. We provide services to anyone in the state, but we exist in some form across the country. So there is an NLS library in every state. National Library Service is a part of the Library of Congress, which is, to give you a little bit of information, we are not funded by the federal government. We are state funded, so we are not going to be impacted in any way. If you have any questions specifically on the services that we offer, please stop by and find out. Of course, we do audiobooks, but we also do other things, magazines, newspapers, audio-described DVDs, remote access outreach programs. There's a ton of different things that we offer. We also have an app. So if somebody's a little bit more tech savvy and you would rather not have a physical player, but you would rather use a smart device or a tablet, then you can access the collection that way. But anyway, that's us over there. Thank you so much.
Now, our friends from the Vet Center.
Sorry, I apologize, I'm a little bit late.
He just butts in anyways, it doesn't matter.
I do have some stuff I'll be putting out later for everybody to take a look at. My name's Kevin, I'm with the Brockton Vet Center. If you're not familiar with the Vet Center, we're part of the Department of Veterans Affairs, but we're kind of a separate entity. A little bit of history, we were founded by Vietnam veterans. Back when Vietnam veterans weren't getting the services they should have received when they came back. They did it, it was like a peer-to-peer, Vietnam veterans helping Vietnam veterans. 1979, the VA brought them into the fold, but there's still some rules that apply that vet centers that don't apply to the VA. Number one, to use the vet center, you don't have to be enrolled in the VA. We highly encourage it, but you don't have to be enrolled in the VA to use vet center services. There is some stricter guidelines to using vet center services. One of the main ones is have served overseas in a combat zone or hostile fire zone. Examples: Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan, Desert Storm, Lebanon, any of those areas that were areas of hostility. Another major qualifier for people to use vet centers is anybody that's a survivor of a military sexual trauma while they served in the military. And then we have a bunch of other smaller ones. Examples, the drone operators, that one of the major hubs for flying drones in Iraq and Afghanistan is right out of the Cape, so we have a lot of the people from down there. Any Coast Guard personnel that did drug and addiction activities, so there's a lot of smaller ones like that. Our main focus, our only focus, is readjustment counseling. So whatever is affecting the veteran or their family, we do see family members as well. Any veteran or their families, that's whatever's going on in their life now is affected by their service when they serve. We do a lot of community events. You may know me from my special guest appearances on Veteran Voice Radio. I do it, I try to get up there.
Once every 6 months?
3 to 4.
Yeah,
3 to
yeah.
4. 3 to 4. So I do, we do the Veteran Voice Radio. We do a lot of events in the community just to try to inform people about our services. Once you qualify to use a vet center, that never goes away. You're always qualified. We have some people that come in short periods. They might come in and do cognitive behavioral therapy, do a 16-week iteration of that, and that's it. They're, whatever they got from that, they're all set, and they don't come back. We have other veterans that have been coming to the same vet center since 1979. They see a counselor individually. They do groups. That's the other big thing we do is groups. So that's why I'm late. I was running a Vietnam veteran PTSD support group before I came here. We do support groups. We have law enforcement, firefighter support groups. Basically anything that we find within the vet center that the veterans need, we'll form a group for it if there's a need for it. We have different eclectic style groups. We have a beekeeping group. We have a golf group. We have adventure group, kayaking, hiking. So we do some different stuff up there. Obviously, over the winter, we can't do quite as much as that, but as we're ramping into spring now, the clinicians that run those stuff, we'll start ramping those up again. So, are we taking questions? If anybody
That's all right, yeah, sure.
Does anybody have a question, or?
We'll get around to you. We'll get it.
All right.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you.
Next up, from Hanscom Federal Credit Union, I want to bring one of my best friends in the veterans world, Sue Katz. Sue, thanks for coming in.
Hi, everybody. So, my name is Sue Katz. I do work for Hanscom Federal Credit Union, but I'm also part of the Veterans Voice Network. Ladies' Night, I'm sure you've heard of that. Any women that want to come on or listen to us, we chat about women's issues. Along with that, I'm also the ISVAC's Financial Resources Liaison, helping you connect with other resources across New England that potentially can help you with different issues. At Hanscom, we are a great credit union, I gotta say that. But we also offer financial wellness counseling and classes. So you can come in, member or not, and sit down with one of us at any of our branches and go over your finances, go over your budget, look at different risk factors that you might have for the future. There are certain things when it comes to medical debt that we can help you with to get you on track to make sure that you're financially ready and well throughout your journey and your family's journeys. So that's why I decided to come out today, and thank you very much.
Thanks, in addition to work with Hanscom Credit Union, she has an extensive background with credit counseling services. So if you have a problem and you feel like you got to talk to somebody, there's none better than Sue Katz to help you out. She's a great asset. At this point, I'd like to introduce my co-host, Justin Latini, who will introduce himself and what he's all about.
Good afternoon. My name is Justin Latini. I'm the National Regional Director for Vietnam Veterans of America. So I represent Vietnam veterans throughout New England. I've been involved since 2009. I met Greg in one of my journeys about 5 years ago, and he asked me to sit in once in a while, and that's turned into a weekly show. But I have to keep him in line because Greg doesn't talk much. So he always misses our breaks for our sponsors. So my job is to make sure if you watch the show, I'm given the time all the time, tell me to break. But Vietnam veterans, about 11% of us are affected with Parkinson's. This morning I was at a meeting earlier, and one of my veterans has tremors, so he's going to be talking with these folks pretty soon. He's trying to get maybe surgery to get the tremors. He's got it pretty bad. But it's an honor for me to travel throughout New England representing Vietnam veterans. I'm not a combat veteran. I was referred earlier by Dave Hanker as a Marine. I'm not a Marine, I'm a submariner. I have a patch that says best Marines are submarine. That's all right, Marines were part of the Navy. Anyway, just want to let you know, if you have any questions about anything, I, like Greg, I don't do anything, but I know a lot of people that can do things. So please just feel free to come up, introduce yourself. It's always nice to see veterans. I was in New Hampshire last Thursday, met 87 Vietnam veterans who served all over. Remember, 9 million of us served during the Vietnam War from 1955 to 1975. 2.7 served in country. And so we were all, whether you were based in Tokyo or Germany or in Da Nang or Laos, wherever you were, we were all exposed to some kind of toxin. So I know we're here for Parkinson's today, but remember, just because you weren't stationed in a combat zone does not mean you weren't exposed to toxins. And we have a bill that I'll be back in Washington in 3 weeks to lobby for. It's called the Molly Loomis Bill. We are trying to get children and grandchildren tested for toxin exposure. And we got close last year. We had the bipartisan, it went into committee. We're going to try to get it out and get it out this year. And that's just one of the bills. We just passed the Elizabeth Doyle Act was just passed, and the Community Care Act was passed. So although we're old, we're still fighting, and I'll be down there fighting as long as they allow me to go down there and bang on doors and make sure that we not only retain the benefits that we have, but to expand those. And for our organization, our national motto when we came home is never again will one generation of veterans abandon another. You know, we came home, we didn't get the big kiss in Times Square, we didn't get the flags. We came home, we went to work, but we want to make sure that those veterans who served after us are welcomed home, thanked for their service, and tell them that their service matters. So if you were I used to say I want to know how many veterans are there. Now I just ask, if you served, and I ask a person 3 things, did you go where they told you to go? Did you do what they told you to do? And did you serve honorably? You are a veteran. I met a man who for 50 years was told that he was not a veteran because he was not a combat veteran. And I just can't understand, I just can't even apprehend how that gets into your mind that you tell people you're not a veteran because you weren't a combat veteran. And he served 3 years in Germany. He was away from his family for 3 years, and unit would have been called up, he would have went. And I always ask people, those are the 3 things I ask of a person who served. And remember that for those, I love my combat vets dearly. As I told them, I will never know what it's like to be in a foxhole or in a gunboat going up or whatever you were doing. But you may not know what it was like to be 82, 92 days underwater, 1,000 feet, and hope after 3 months that when you hit the switch that you were supposed to come up. Anyway, we all served. We served honorably, and your service matters, and that's what I want to make sure everyone understands. No matter what you did. My hero, as I know it's going to cut short, my hero, there's a E3 somewhere in the United States who served, that in June of 1974 put a piece of paper in a typewriter and typed up my discharge papers. That's my hero. If you were out there, thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, I want to recognize another friend of ours that's in the audience, Bob Notch. Was he is Dave? Bob Notch is, I think we might want to have him, Bob, come on up and say a few words. Here's a role model that none better than my friend Bob Notch. Thanks, Bob.
Hi, everyone. I'm Bob Notch. I'm the veteran advocate for the Commonwealth. We are a new independent agency. You might not have heard of us, but today you have. For all of you, the important thing to know is if the system, the state system, does not seem to be working quite right, reach out to us. It's our job to have oversight and then work with the agencies to get the system on track. So you can find us at mass.gov/OVA, and you can also follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and X at Massachusetts Office of the Veteran Advocate. My goal to be here today is to learn. I'm here to learn from all these folks and understand what resources are out there, what's available, and what more we can do. So, great to see you all. Thank you for letting me come up and talk.
Of course, Bob. Last but not least, I have to, you know.
He just walked in.
Yeah, I know, he just walked in.
I've been trying to keep him out.
Yeah, thanks, he'll get in anyways. My other co-host, one of my other co-hosts, Wolfie, is in the audience. We're going to say a couple of words to this audience.
Looking out over this audience, we just had because of Greg, we just had the first hall coffee, and we have a little benediction every time, and every time you look over the audience and say, we really need to have that benediction, don't we?
Yes, yes, yes.
First thing is thank you for your service. Second thing is, I got a lot of interesting cookies, and there's good snacks over there, so you better get there fast before Greg and Justin get to them, and Jen. And thank you all for your service, and we're really glad that you're here, because it's really important. Listen, we're all getting, can I use the F word too? You know, we're all a freaking mess.
Yeah.
Everyone's a freaking mess. So we had one of the coffees, and we snuck in one of Dave's nice young girls who were just starting out in the healthcare world, and she looked out over the crowd like us and said, you know, and I said, she was saying, so I said, no, everyone's a freaking mess. And she said, no, you can't say that. Everyone stood up, I'm a freaking mess, he's a freaking mess, he's a freaking mess. So it's good that we're all together, and we're helping each other all together. And you know, we've all getting old, so we went through with our moms and dads, and now we're going through with our families. And as long as we're all together, that's what Greg's original goal was, just create an environment that we can all help each other and be with each other and annoy each other and give everyone a hard time. So if there's anyone that I didn't get a chance to pick on before we leave, come see me afterwards, I'll give you a hard time.
Yeah, you can give him a punch.
Yeah.
You give him a punch.
We give everybody a hug first. So we have a lot of nice stars and little flags to give to everybody before you go for helping each other. You're going to get a nice little gift today. So thank you all very much. Thanks to Greg for putting this in Boston. And I've been giving each other a little political lecture and saying to my friends, we're all ridiculous bullies. We've got big mouths. We don't know what the hell we're talking about. Everyone be quiet, just be nice to each other. How's that for a good lecture? Just be nice to everything. There's a superstar hero right there.
And I have one more person to introduce, one of the stalwarts of our show, Jenny Babcock from Volunteers of America. Jenny, you want to say a couple of words, please?
No, but I
Yes,
will.
yes, you have a couple.
So I'm the voice that's never heard on the radio.
Yeah.
My name is Jenny Babcock. I am a new employee with Volunteers of America. If you don't know what it is, it's an organization that also helps veterans with anything from employment to housing to arrears on utility bills, anything financial, we can assist. We're located in downtown Plymouth, beautiful waterfront area. North Park, it's 20 North Park Ave, so if you want to stop in and see what we do, we also have a coffee social the first Wednesday of every month. I'm still learning my job. I left my job of 40 years to take on this, working with veterans, because you mean the world to me, so thank you for your service. I also oversee the Plymouth County Suicide Prevention Coalition and the Norfolk County Suicide Prevention Coalition. So we go out into the community and provide resources, references, and training classes, all for free. So if anyone wants any information, I have business cards. I did not set up a table because I'm supposed to be working, but I came here instead.
Thanks, Jenny.
Thanks,
Jenny. Well, I think that's everybody. Are there any general questions that you'd like to ask myself or the members of the body panel?
Yeah, can I say something? My wife has essential tremor, and we went to a seminar years ago at Beth Israel Deaconess, and I had no idea. I thought there was only going to be a few people in there. That place had over 300 people in there, and they had something like that at the time. Was one of the things they were using for essential tremor was the brain stimulation. They also have a thing called a focus ultrasound now, which they put a lesion on your brain. And that's what my wife had. Her hand was like this, and since she's had that procedure, her hand is rock steady. And now I just found out they're doing the other side. But they're having a little issues with it, but they are doing it. In fact, there's somebody here that's had it done. These procedures, when they took out the lady shut her machine off that was up on the stage, and she was all over the place. And then when she turned it back on, she was rock steady. It's amazing on some of the procedures that they're doing. And they're there for any of you people to look at.
This first one you mentioned that your wife had, is that an implantable or just
They do a focus ultrasound, they drill a hole, they shave her head, they put a big head thing on, and they fill it with water, and she's like in an MRI machine, and the doctor goes in and puts a lesion on her brain. And she can be in there anywhere from an hour to 3 hours until she can make the circles. That's how they decide how long she was in. She was in for 2.5 hours.
so there was no anesthesia?
I believe there was some anesthesia, but
When you say lesion on the brain,
they put a lesion, like a burn on the brain.
oh, so they cauterize part of the
They
brain.
do something like that, yeah.
I'm happy to chime in if you'd like.
Go ahead, please.
I figured there might be a lot of questions about
Yeah.
Focused ultrasound thalamotomy is a newer procedure. It's been FDA approved for several years for essential tremor, and in the last few years for Parkinson's disease-related tremor as well, where you actually are put into an MRI scanner and there's no cutting. So it's marketed as non-invasive, but I always tell patients non-invasive in quotation marks because it's actually quite invasive, because what they do is they're using a very strong ultrasound machine, ultrasound technology, just like what they do to do an ultrasound for a baby, but very, very strong, to actually form a little scar in the brain, in the part of the tissue that generates the tremor. And by scarring that area in the brain, the tremor is suppressed. And so this is fabulous, right? If you think about it, you can go in there, get this done, leave the same day without any tremor, without any cutting. But it's still quite invasive because they are forming a scar in the brain. Nothing is perfect. You may not have the perfect outcome. There are side effects, balance, sometimes other issues that can happen as a result of the procedure. So it's still considered surgical, but it is a newer tool that we have for certain patients that can help in managing their tremors.
Would that be almost similar to cardiac ablation? For
It's
like
similar.
SVTs or AFib?
It's similar, but different tech. They use like radio frequency ablation, so it's just a different technology, but same general idea.
Okay. That's what it helps with muscle weakness.
It does not.
Oh.
We have a question back here?
I had it done. When I went in the machine, it's a 3-day thing. You're not even in the hospital overnight. First day, they map your brain. It's about 45 minutes in the MRI. Second day, they do the procedure. That's about 2 hours, roughly 2 hours. And the third day, it's another 45-minute map your brain type of thing. When I went in, my hand was like this. You were awake all the time. But when I come out of the machine, my hand was like that. That was 3.5 years ago.
Wow.
Dr. Braz is one of the wonderful women that works in this.
I have a question. My cousin was diagnosed with Parkinson's a year and a half ago, and he does not experience tremors. Are tremors eventually going to
Figure I'll stand up here so everyone can hear me.
be a part of his experience?
Parkinson's disease is an overarching term for a disease process that can look extremely different in different individuals. And so some people have that classic syndrome of Parkinson's disease where resting tremor is the first sign, and tremor might be the most bothersome sign for a while. Some people develop Parkinson's disease that's known as the akinetic rigid phenotype, and that is a type of Parkinson's where stiffness and slowness is more so the problem than tremor. And those folks often do not ever develop tremors.
I think that might be what is experiencing, because they stopped the drooling. He still is unsteady on his feet, but as a family, we're waiting for the tremor.
Yeah. So it may not, the tremor may not ever come.
Thank you. So we have no effect on the muscle weakness?
Correct.
So does it affect actually the dopamine production?
Does not. Actually, the target for focused ultrasound is a different target in the brain than the area that is responsible for dopamine. The area that's responsible for dopamine is called the subthalamic nucleus. The area that's targeted for the focused ultrasound is it's a thalamus, and it's called a VIM thalamotomy. That's the specific area, so it's a totally different area, but it still has.
But that's interesting research because, maybe they can develop something. Because, as we know that dopamine is the neurotransmitter that's lacking in Parkinson's disease.
Yeah, so
whereas acetylcholine is in excess.
That is true. What it turns out that what's amazing and complicated about the brain is that we like to think about it as discrete areas that are having dysfunction, but it's really networks. And so it's really much more complicated than just thinking about it like one place that's affected or one neurotransmitter. It's very complex.
So would it actually, the muscle, what about the muscle rigidity, those symptoms? Would that technology also treat that?
Focused ultrasound, anecdotally, meaning those of us who follow patients who've had it done or who do the procedure, we have noticed that stiffness, that rigidity can sometimes be improved after the procedure. But that is not universal, so it is not the reason that we go into doing the procedure. The procedure is really to target tremor. That is the indication for that particular procedure.
Thank you very much.
With the deep brain stimulation, would that have anything? Would that have a positive effect on the muscle strength?
So the way we think about deep brain stimulation is that whatever levodopa, the main treatment for Parkinson's disease, helps, the deep brain stimulator can help. So if you take your Parkinson's medicine, your dopamine, and you feel like you're moving easier, your stiffness is better, your fine motor movements, coordination is better, DBS can help you maintain that state more evenly throughout the day. But it doesn't make you better than dopamine does. It just keeps you more even. The one exception to that is tremor, because some people have tremor that is not responsive to dopamine, but DBS can still take care of that tremor even if the dopamine doesn't help it.
What about balance? That's my name.
Balance is not improved by any of the surgical treatments. They can actually all worsen balance.
Well, if there's no other questions, I'd like to give everybody a chance to grab some lunch and mingle about to talk to these brilliant people here. And I hope you all got something out of this event. It's the first time I've done it. But Anna, you have a fall scenario, don't you? Yes.
We sure do. Yes, in October we are hosting, and we've done it for many years now in partnership with St. Elizabeth's Medical Center, a Parkinson's Symposium. So I believe our date, October 17th. Location to be determined, but if you want to come sign up for our email distribution list at 110 Fitness, then you'll start getting email updates about that symposium as well. We have a lot of great speakers and panels and updates on research and technologies and things like that. So we'd love to have you there. That's a free event. lunch provided, it's a great time.
Thanks, Anna. Thanks. Well, that concludes the show. I hope everybody gained something. One last question, one last person I want to give a shout out to. An old friend of mine, Jeff Nigerian, from the VFW. He's been there forever. He's in around all the events. So if you want to talk to Jeff and pick his brain a little bit, he hasn't got much, but that's okay. We love Jeff anyways. So thank you, everybody, and drive careful and have a sandwich.
If you have not enrolled in VA or